because I had a lot of questions. Compared to most people, I was completely lost. I was like, what is this? There was a time where I didn't know what a statement of purpose was. What is Common App? How do you use it? But I had an extraneous support the entire way. I never felt like I had to do something on my own. I remember ma'am has called you as a madness loft in the night. Now, how do I do this? What do I do? What do I write here? But always had a helping hand. Very interesting people I got to meet through this platform who I'm still in touch with even now.
That's great. That's the beauty of community, I think so, and that's what Next Genius is all about. Hi everyone, I'm Kajal Shah from Next Genius Scholarship Program, and today we have Serena with us. Before we get into our conversation, I would like her to introduce herself to you all. So please go ahead.
So hello everyone, my name is Serena D'souza. I'm currently a Next Genius Scholar for this year. I studied at PPSITC Juhu. I'm going to be attending the University of San Francisco in California, and I'll be pursuing psychology.
That's great. As far as I remember, Serena, USF has always been your dream college. So how did it become your dream college?
Oh, so the entire process was very exciting for me for this entire journey that I've had. So once I registered for Next Genius, we moved on to the stage where I got to look at, there's a vast variety of colleges that they're offering. And I was very lucky that USF was there. And I was like, oh wow, it's on the list. I have to pick it. It's always been a dream of mine to see San Francisco for myself. So I made a list about the colleges that I was attending. There were around 5 that I shortlisted. I sent my profile over. I also recorded a video talking about my aspirations, why I picked USF, sent it over. We had a few interview stages with the university itself. We spoke to the representatives. And at last it happened. USF is when I got.
So how exciting was this journey for you? Was it easy, or were you stressed at the during entire journey, or how did you feel when you were anticipating the results?
Oh, initially I was just nervous. I get nervous very easily, and of course this is like a very nerve-wracking process because it's my future. What's at stake is up to that. So initially I was just full of tension. I was doing so much research. I was like, wow, I need to read a dictionary. Everything has to sound perfect. But initially, as we reached the final stages and the announcement happened and I found out that I have a spot at this college, initially I was just like, okay, it's done. I did it. And that process was also very exciting for me because I learned a lot. Like I learned a lot about myself. I learned how to open up to others, to be a better communicator. So a lot of skills that I thought could use development actually got developed in the process.
That's lovely. So what was the preference number of USS? Was it your first choice? Was it your second choice? And what made you actually put USF in that list of your 5 college preference?
So USF was always my number one choice. I did have a few second choices. Like I was also looking at Syracuse. That was a second choice that I had. But the more I learned about USF, like the program for psychology is fantastic. But also it's in such a beautiful setting. It has such great people. So I was really drawn to it, which is why it became my number one choice.
Okay, so what actually drawn you towards USF, like the community or the program?
The program. So psychology, as we see, is a very it's not a niche field anymore. Like every college is offering a psychology program now. What I like about USF that it's so research based. There's like a very focused team for psychology. There's also really cool extracurriculars that you can do. There's a club that offers you activities. You can meet actual psychologists in the field. And I was like, this is the kind of experience that I need in the future, which is why I picked it.
Lovely. So what made you choose psychology? Because, I've seen like students picking up psychology in this year was like, it was a hot pick for everybody. So what made you decide that you want to do that?
So there is the cliche answer, which is like the human mind. It's very fascinating. I want to know more about it. But also I feel like psychology as a science is very interesting. Because there's nothing hard that you have to study. You are taking based on body language, studying a person, how they behave. So it's all about thinking and analyzing. And I like to think that I'm really good with people and analyzing people. And of course, in psychology also, there's numerous branches. There's not like one type. There's clinical, there's industrial, there's forensic. So I'm inclining towards either industrial psychology, which is corporate workplaces, analyzing team building skills, or forensic, which is working for crime departments, analyzing criminals. So I find the entire field, it's very vast. There's a lot to learn. Something new is always coming up in a field like this, which is why I've gone ahead with psychology.
That's great to know that, you being so clear with what you want to do in field of psychology, because as you mentioned, it's like a vast topic. It's just like one drop in the ocean kind of a thing. So I want to know that, there are so many colleges all over the world that offer psychology, right? So what made you choose a liberal arts college, and why did you choose a liberal arts college that offers this particular?
So for me particularly, of course, there are colleges that are focused on psychology also. But from my experience with USF, there are other things you can do besides studying psychology. So for example, even as a psychology major, I have opportunities at taking up Spanish to study. I could take an English writing class. I love language, so I was very excited for that. So as a liberal arts college, it's like a very diverse array of things that you're doing. You're not just focusing on one subject and just studying that forever, which is why I think I see the appeal in colleges like this, and I went ahead with this one.
That's lovely. So as USF was one of our very new colleges for the last year, and we're going to have it this year as well. So you are going to be the first scholar of USF. How do you feel?
Very excited. This is like very big for me. I didn't know I was going to be the first one. So initially when I found out, I was like, wow, it's me.
That's great. Yeah, that's lovely. That's lovely. So how did you get to know about Next Genius? Like, where did it all start?
So my mom, she's also from a school background. And what happened was the parents approached her once. She found out that I was at my final year at 12th. And she asked my mom, so what does your daughter want to do? And my mom very slightly told her that we never considered us foreign studies abroad. I've always focused on being here. And this parent said, oh, my daughter applied for this program. And her daughter now is currently studying in Kentucky. And she's like, why don't you try? Your daughter seems to have the caliber to do it. So why don't you give it a shot? And initially, my mom was hesitating because she's very protective. She's like, oh, I can't just send you away to the US. No one's ever been there before. But she looked into the program. She did her research and she's like, okay, this sounds of something that's a chance. We should take it. And so she told me, why don't you try applying? And I was like, okay, I'll do it because you're saying it sounds great. And I applied and the rest is history.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, I have spoken to your mom a lot of times and, she's one and two person. I would really love to meet her someday. So I was actually expecting her to be here today. Next 3 years, of course, gave you an opportunity. And as you mentioned that nobody from your family has been to USA. And it was never on your mind, never in your family's mind to go study abroad. So when this opportunity came in, so did you just, take it up like, okay, let's try, or you actually had that somewhere in your heart that you want to go and study abroad?
Okay, so for me, basically the college that I come from, we have a lot of people who've gone abroad to study. And so initially I was like, oh wow, that sounds very exciting. But of course, our studies in the US is expensive. It's very crazy. So I put that idea to the back of my head. I was like, our country is great. I can do something here as well. But of course, when chances come, it's always good to take them. So I told my mom, what do we have to do? It's an opportunity. We should make the most of it. Even if it doesn't happen, I made it to some stage, right? So initially, I went in with that mindset. I didn't expect too much of me. I was like, okay, just give it my best, hope for the best. And of course, I started with that. But as I grew more and I got to interact more with everybody, I was like, okay, I really want this to happen to me. So initially it started that way, but by the end of it, I was like, please work out for me.
So how was your experience with the Next Genius team and college representatives? Like you mentioned that you had multiple conversations with the college representatives. So how helpful they were to you? Because the upcoming juniors are, a little hesitant that will we get that help or not. So how was it for you?
Oh, I had a lot of support initially because like I said, we never planned this. We had no research. We were going into it completely blind. So, of course, ma'am, your support. Mr. Anantan got us into touch with everyone initially, his support. And, of course, the people who are talking to you from USF, particularly for me, Mr. Pradhan and Ms. Nicole, they were so helpful, so open, because I had a lot of questions. Compared to most people, I was completely lost. I was like, what is this? There was a time where I didn't know what a statement of purpose was. What is Common App? How do you use it? But I had Next Genius's support the entire way. I never felt like I had to do something on my own. I remember, ma'am, I called you as at -12 in the night. Now, how do I do this? What do I do? What do I write here? But always had a helping hand. So it's definitely a process that's really smooth. And of course, for the US and also from USS end, the team that was there, they were very helpful. They were very easy at explaining the guidelines for the university, what paperwork has to reach where. It was also very important because the deadlines are very important there. So I had support the entire time. I never felt like I was lost at any single point.
That's lovely, getting support from the university itself. says a lot about, how you're not going alone there. You are already having a community, a support, a family in a foreign land. So now you are an exchange scholar already, and I would like you to give maybe a message or an advice to the upcoming juniors who may be looking forward to applying to USF or maybe to the senior scholarship program. So what would you like to tell them?
Oh, the main thing I have to say is take the chance. Don't hesitate. Oh, maybe I can't do it. Oh, maybe my profile isn't good enough. Taking the chance is very important. I've actually had a few juniors message me from different colleges. I've never heard of them, never met them, but they saw one post which is up on the Next Genius page, and they reached out to me and they're like, hey, you did this. I'm really hesitating. How do I also try and make it this far? So definitely I see, like, first of all, decide to take the chance. Don't hesitate. Say yes. I think you should never for 1 minute doubt yourself. Do your research on your college properly also, depending on what you want to do, because Next Year's offers so many excellent colleges that you can be a part of. So you have to make sure you're picking the right one. Don't hesitate to look up the weather, Google where it is, what to do there. Those are things I did also in my process for selecting where I want to go. And once that's done, of course, give it your all. Look up, like, then we had an interview phase also where we spoke to USF representatives. So look up best tips for an interview. They told me dress your best, look really neat and sharp. Things that I feel like most people would like overlook. But with the guidance of Next Genius, I was like, okay, I'm giving such a professional interview. So definitely also don't hesitate to ask for help from the team that we had here, because they're so open. They're always ready to help you out. Don't feel like it's a burden. You have to take it yourselves and do everything alone, because help is there and it's very useful to have help. Correct. So take the shot, take the guidance that you're being given. And even if it doesn't happen, it's pretty great to make it to any stage in this entire process, because there were around 4,000 people who applied when I was applying last year. And I was like, wow, that's a lot of people enough to have to be hired. So making it to any stage, of course, is very great. So the main thing is take the chance.
Yes, taking up chance is something, the first step, half the journey is covered if we take the first step. So before we end this, I would also like to know from you, how was your interview experience? Like, you were around 25 students in one cohort. So how was it? Like, what all you did in that interview? Was it like, tell me something about yourself, or was it like a discussion?
Okay, so our interview for USS was split into 2 phases. So in phase 1, we had like a debate discussion type situation where 2 members of the USS community were present there. They were observing us. We students had to interact around the topic that we've been given and do a presentation on our thoughts on the topic. I remember it was related to inflation and the economic situation for us. So we made a whole PPT in 25 minutes to explain what we thought about the dollar side.
That's something new and cool. So I was like, made up a PPT during the interview.
Well, I had no commerce background, so I was like, okay, what are they talking about? But I learned a lot because you get to interact with other students, so of course they had their strengths also. And the second half of the interview was very casual. We just had to talk about one thing that we've enjoyed recently doing. So a lot of people mentioned movies, some people mentioned that they were traveling, some people were giving hobbies. So the second part was more just getting to know each other on a personal level. So our interview was very relaxed. I was very worried. I thought it was going to be like a business interview, some very serious questions, but none of that happened.
Tell you something about yours. I think,
Yeah.
So you mentioned that, the second phase was what you enjoyed doing recently. So, to our audience, like, we want to know what you enjoyed doing recently.
So I remember I told them that I was on vacation when the entire process was happening. It was my winter break. So I was on a spree of binging horror films for a while. So I told them that's what I've been doing. I've just been watching scary movies and analyzing them. It was definitely that real psychology student. I was a psychology student. Yeah, my dad is doing. So I just told them, and they got a great responses. There was somebody who'd taken up a professional diving license. Very interesting people I got to meet through this platform, who I'm still in touch with even now.
That's great. That's the beauty of community, I think so, and that's what Next Genius is all about. So yeah, it was lovely having this conversation, Serena. I learned a lot about you today, and we wish you all the best for your journey. And when you fly, please do let us know and send us the pictures.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.